There are some betrayals that not only mark the end of a relationship, but also shatter the trust and future that has been built over the years. As I witnessed my wife Laura's betrayal after 7 years of marriage, I began to realize that this truth was not limited to just one night. Laura wasn't trying to hide her infidelity. Instead, she proudly admitted it, expecting me to accept the situation. But for me, tonight was not only the revelation of her betrayal, but also the moment to make a decision that would change my life entirely. In the past few months, Laura's behavior had changed. She started coming home late in the evenings, always going out with some excuse. She never left her phone out of sight, and when messages came in, she quickly turned the screen away. A suspicion grew inside me. One evening during dinner, I gathered my courage and asked Laura, "Am I supposed to share you with someone else recently?" A moment of silence followed by a cold look. "Why would you think such a thing?" she replied, but avoided my eyes. At that moment, I knew the fear I had inside was now a reality. Laura was with someone else. One evening, after putting our daughters to bed, I gathered the courage to ask her everything directly. "Laura, are you seeing someone?" My voice trembled and my heart raced. She looked into my eyes, a slight smile forming on her face. "Yes," she said coldly. "There is someone who makes me happy." At that moment, my world collapsed. The fact that the woman I had shared every moment with for 7 years could confess so easily made it even more painful. "Why?" I asked, almost whispering. Laura took a step back with no regret or sadness in her eyes. "Henry," she said, "I still feel something for you, but you're not enough. I need more in my life. This man gives me that satisfaction." My heart was shattered. "So what are you going to do? Are you leaving with this man?" I asked. "No," she said, "I'm staying here. I'm married to you, and we have children, but I'll continue seeing him. You'll have to learn to deal with it." That was the final straw. I knew I couldn't continue living this way. I turned to Laura and said, "If you meet this man, I won't be here when you come back." Laura gave me a condescending look, and then she said it. "Henry, don't do this," she said, without even looking at me as she did her makeup. Knowing that my wife of 7 years was getting ready to meet another man was like a dagger to my heart. "Laura, is this man really worth divorcing over?" I asked. Laura paused for a moment, then turned to me with a mocking smile. "Divorce?" she said, laughing sarcastically. "We both know you won't divorce me. And even if you did, what would happen? I'd take the house, take the kids, make you pay alimony and child support. You'd barely see your daughters. In the end, you'd be paying to watch me be with other men, and you'd gain nothing." I froze at her words. The woman in front of me, the one I loved, trusted, and spent years with, couldn't be this cold and heartless. But it seemed Laura had been playing a role all these years, hiding how manipulative and selfish she truly was. "What would your mother think if she knew about this, Laura?" I asked, clinging to one last hope. Laura just gave me a disdainful look. "Henry, you're so naive and well-meaning. This was her idea. My mother raised me this way. A woman must hold power in marriage. We can't be physically stronger than men, but we can dominate in other ways. She did the same to my father, and eventually he accepted it. You'll accept it too, don't worry. Your masculine pride might struggle at first, but eventually you'll see that your best option is to submit." I was boiling inside. "Laura, if you go to meet him tonight, I won't be here when you return," I said firmly. Laura laughed again. "I know you're struggling, but trust me, I still love you. I chose to marry you because you're a good man, the perfect father for the kids. But these other men, they're just physical. Stop fighting me, and I'll reward you when I come back." Every word pulled me deeper into the abyss, making it harder to breathe. A man is forcing you to shave, and his demands are more important than mine. And I'm supposed to accept that, Laura? Finishing her makeup and fixing her hair, she gave me another condescending look. "You need to accept what you can't change. If you treat me well, I'll reward you handsomely. It's not so bad, you know, but you must accept that this is how things will be." I was ready to explode, unable to tolerate her cruel and selfish words any longer. "Laura, why don't you just leave me and be with him?" Laura burst into laughter. "Don't be silly, Henry. No man can meet all my needs. He's just a worker, but he has a good tool, so I use him. Your paycheck is what keeps this life going. Without you, the kids and I wouldn't have this luxury. Your place is here, making money for us." As I silently absorbed everything she said, Laura grabbed her purse and headed for the door. "I still love you, you know. You'll get used to this in time. After all, you're a soldier. You're used to taking orders, aren't you?" she said as she walked out the door. In the silence of the house, I felt crushed under the emotional weight I had been carrying for years. Then I reached for my phone and called an old friend, a friend I hadn't spoken to in a long time, one who reminded me of the days we fought together. And now I needed a plan to end this battle. As the clock approached 10, I moved into action. Our plan was ready, and though Laura might know what I was doing, this time I was determined to disappear for good, taking my daughters safely with me. I set out on a journey, one that would change both her and their lives forever. When I left the house with my daughters, I didn't look back. We drove in silence, the only sound being the soft breathing of my daughters in the back seat. They didn't understand yet, but I was leaving for good. My only priority now was their safety and future. After a while, we reached a small airport. The plane waiting for us was the gateway to our new life. I told the girls everything was fine, that we were going on a little vacation. Their innocent excitement made me smile, but inside I felt an emptiness. Nothing would ever be the same again, but this time I would be the one winning. As the plane took off, for a moment I lost myself in the silence. The city below felt like the wreckage of my life. Staring out the window, the girls played in the back seat, unaware of anything. I hadn't anticipated how fast life would change for them, but I knew I had to save them from Laura's control and manipulation. New identities, a new life awaited us. I had planned everything to ensure my daughter's safety. Now, in a new country, a new city, we would start from scratch. When the plane landed, I felt a sense of relief, but also the weight of great responsibility on my shoulders. My daughter's future was now entirely in my hands. As the doors opened, I took a deep breath and held my daughter's hands. We were in a new country where no one knew us, where Laura couldn't find us. We got into a car. After leaving the airport, along the way, my daughter started asking questions. "Where's Mom, Dad? When will we go back?" At that moment, I had to lie, my heart aching. "We'll be here for a while, sweetie," I said. I had to lie to keep them safe. In time, they would understand that everything was for their own good. When we arrived at our new home, everything was simple and small, but it was perfect for us to start again. Everything was secret now, our new identities, our new lives. I would never let her find us again. As the days passed, my daughters started to adapt to our new routine. I spent more and more time with them, trying to give them as much happiness as I could. One morning, while watching the sunrise, my daughters were still asleep. Our lives were slowly settling into a rhythm. That morning, I made a promise to myself. No one will ever find us again. No one will disturb my daughter's peace. This new life belonged to us alone. Laura might still be living her old life somewhere, but I had built a new one. We would never go back to those dark days again.